Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Damon once again, and this time I thought I would talk about my top 20 Super Nintendo games of all time. Yes, I'm doing a video games review video because it's been a while since I've done so. So, to me, I've been basically one of my first gaming system was the SNES. It was the second one after the original NES. And there are a lot of video games there that I thought were classic, and some of them I had hard time basically putting on the list. I had to basically settle on putting them on the honorable mention. So, in honorable mention, let's start this without further ado. Super Castlevania 4 was a very, very good side-scroller adventure in this case with 11 levels, in which case you had basically as Simon Bellman trying to go through every room of the castle, Dracula's castle, to find Dracula. It's basically kind of a reboot version of the original Castlevania, but I felt like this one is better than the first Castlevania. So that's very good. Also, by the same developer, Konami, Axelay. In 1992, there was a very good shooter, basically a gun shooter, basically Axelay, which I thought was it mixed great visuals and awesome music. This is one of the best music on SNES I've ever seen before, and I thought it's not talked enough as a game or in terms of in terms of its music. That's for honorable mention. We also have again from a Konami, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, which was a Goemon game. It's like at first when I first rented it back in 1992, I wasn't basically the biggest fan of it, but I learned to love it better with age. I thought it was a better game that people give it credit for. And yeah, there was also for from Capcom, there's Final Fight 3, which I feel is the second best Final Fight game there is with both co-op and the fact that you could choose your own path. But I thought it was so the boss did not really appeal to me. The bosses were not as fun as the second one, in my opinion. So it's a spoiler for later on go on. And there's also Earthworm Jim 2. That was a fun game. I mean, I know Earthworm Jim 3D wasn't good, but I'd love to have another 2D Earthworm Jim game again. Why can't we have that? It was very fun, was hilarious. I mean, I can't really recall another side scroller that ends the final boss is basically a race. And yeah, it was very, very good in this case. Uh, we'll also have there's also Super Punch Out. Very fun game, very boxing game. Basically, I felt like it's better than the original in the NES. You get Earthbound, a very fun, underrated RPG. Very weird too, though. And you got Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. I also want to put Separation Anxiety in there because the graphics weren't as well done, but even for the beat 'em up, it's as good as Maximum Carnage. It's very good still. Anyway, those are my honorable mentions. Number 20. What would be my first game? It'd be Super Double Dragon. I feel like it's basically people can say it's an incomplete game because there's that cutscene, but to me, I don't care. I really like the game. There's a reason why I kept going back to it, and I keep going back as I'm grown up to it. It's very fun. Billy and Jimmy basically, I wouldn't say it's a reboot, the first one, Nintendo, but I feel it's like they're a standalone adventure from the two brothers when they go to fight Duke. And yeah, I thought the usage of weapons in that game was very fun. Uh, the very different bosses are varied. So at the end, just like a Double Dragon, you have to do like a gauntlet of bosses, and it's a very good game. The Double Dragon 4, Revenge of Double Dragon, Return of Double Dragon, sorry, on the basically the Super Famicom version, it's kind of fun, but I felt like it's kind of repetitive because after you do the gauntlet, you have to redo the gauntlet two, three times. I felt like they added length the game just cause. It didn't make it better, it just made it a bit more repetitive. Number 19, Batman Returns from Konami in 1993. I love the original Batman Returns movie, and I really like the game. It's 7 levels, and it's a great beat 'em up. It's like you can really feel the intensity, the hit detection ratio in the game were very crisp. You could hear the punches, you could hear the kicks, and it's a beat 'em up that's not often talked about that should be talked about even more. So yeah, the only thing I don't like is there's no co-op. I know you can. I would even if it doesn't make sense. You gotta have one person be Batman, the other one being another version of basically a dark blue version of Batman. And if you could have done that, that would have been that actually raised the stake of that game. So that's number 19. Number 18, Sunset Riders, again from Konami in 1993. I know it comes from the arcade from 1991. It's a direct port of the arcade, but it's so damn fun. I mean, Sunset Rider was very fun. You play, it's really enjoyable, and it's you can easily replay it anytime you want to. So that's this. Number 17, X-Men from Capcom. I mean, after the debacle that's X-Men on Genesis and X-Men on NES or Spider-Man and X-Men from LJN, you have X-Men by Capcom, and that game was really badass. I mean, you could play as any of the X-Men, as in Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Gambit, or Psylocke. I prefer Wolverine, but I felt like it was an action-packed video game. It's a beat 'em up. Again, you can only play as one player, but I felt like it was a very good beat 'em up, very fun to beat 'em up. And yeah, that would be number 17. Number 16, Kirby Superstar. There weren't that many Kirby video games on the SNES, but I thought Kirby Superstar was pretty fun. It was very enjoyable. I don't recall all of it, but I really recall enjoying the whole ride when I played that game. That's number 16. Number 15, The Adventures of Batman and Robin in 1994, sorry, by Konami again. It's a side scroller slash beat 'em up, and I thought it's fun to see Batman necessitate a lot of his gadgets in his utility belt, but also not just that, but there's a lot of detective work being done. Which, whereas in the third level with the penguin, find out what the ostrich are, or the level before the last level where Batman has to basically solve the riddle of the Riddler, and the Riddler is. Uh, And basically, the riddle of the Riddler is actually very clever when you think about it. So yeah. And before that is Labyrinth to find this. That's number 15. Number 14, it's a tie. I couldn't place that one area because it's all Capcom beat 'em ups. You got Final Fight 2, you got Captain Commando, and you got Knights of the Rounds. Two of them being ports of arcades, two of them I love, and then there's Final Fight 2, which I really like. To me, Final Fight 2 is one of my favorite beat 'em ups ever, and it's basically my favorite Final Fight game. I mean, it's actually the first Final Fight game you could play as two-player, which was very fun. I always liked to play as Mike Hagar. My brother would play as somebody else. Knights of the Round, I love playing as King Arthur. My brother played as Percival. Nobody wanted to take Lancelot. Everybody wanted Percival. And you fought through the whole things. And Captain Commando, the baby commando is hilarious, as well as the actual Captain Commando. But Mac the Knife and the Ninja Commando always are fun. I'm surprised there's not been a sequel to either Knight of the Rounds or Captain Commando. Those were awesome beat 'em ups. Number 13. This is where I'm going to put all the fighting games there. I'm tempted to do another tie with Super Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, and Killer Instinct. Again, Super Street Fighter 2 to me is the quintessential Street Fighter game on the SNES. I mean, it has its 12 core characters, and you got four. This is the first time there were four added. And it was before the time that where Capcom was really reticent about hitting the Street Fighter 3 basically goalposts. We had basically Cammy, Fei Long, T-Hawk, and DJ being added to this. And yeah, we could easily do super moves like the Super Fireball by Ryu, the Super Shoryuken with Ken. Uh, yeah, it was very fun. And Mortal Kombat 2, after the first debacle, the first Mortal Kombat SNES, that was basically there was no blood. This one there was blood. There was the violence was in that game, and honestly, it was play a lot with me, my brother, and our friends. Like people forget basically back in the arcade days. I mean, I remember basically at the video game store back in the days. Yeah, that's how old I am. Uh, there was a line. People sometimes wouldn't come over just to rent games. They would come over to play the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade. There was a line just to play that arcade. You don't see that often nowadays. People, I still believe that we kind of need arcade for some games to basically make people anticipate the release to consoles. Sometimes that really helped. But yeah, I really like this. And Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was basically a mixture of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And I'm surprised there's not more Killer Instinct games out there. So that's this. Number 12 is an underrated game from Konami, 1993, Tiny Toons, Bust Loose. Very fun game, very pleasant game that plays on basically the mythos of Tiny Toons, where you play as Buster through 6 levels, and easy mode doesn't make you complete the entire game. Normal mode is okay. Hard mode is very tough, and the skipping rope in the second base level can be very, very tough. So that's number 12. Number 11, Mega Man X from Capcom. Mega Man X, it's like you could play the game straightforward, or you could basically concentrate on getting the uh all collect the piece of the new suit, in which case you unlock the Shoryuken. So sorry, the Hadouken, sorry. Shoryuken is the sequel. The Hadouken, and that basically helps you take care of bosses right away. So that's very important there. I really like that game. It's very, very fun. Now we're going to top 10. Top 10. Number 10, Star Fox. Yeah, before there was the do the barrel roll, there was the actual Star Fox. In this case, you're introduced to basically this in 993 to this sequel to the movie, to this game by Nintendo that basically used at that time revolutionary graphics, 3D graphics to do game. And I tell you, it was really fun. And it's a game that started that genre and actually was exceeded by Star Fox 64, which is why I'm surprised there's not been a Star Fox game on Nintendo Switch. Like, I'm surprised they didn't decide to put a Star Fox on Nintendo Switch. They relied on doing one for the Wii U that barely anybody got. Why can you do this for a Switch? Or even for Switch 2, that'd be a good idea. But anyway, that's number 10. Number 9, Super Mario RPGs, Legend of the Seven Stars. That's an awesome RPG, and I was surprised at first. It wasn't just Nintendo, it was Squaresoft, which became Square Enix doing that game, and you could see the influence of both. I mean, in this case, it mixes a bit of adventure, but mostly a lot of RPG from Square Enix. And I like having to play as Mario, Bowser, and Peach being teaming up for the first time at that point, but you also have Mello and Geno. So that was a very, very fun adventure. And while it's an RPG that's maybe 10 to 14 hours tops, it didn't exceed its welcome. There's many RPGs even today that I feel like you could have ended there, but you continue, you press on, you press on, you press on. You put on 14 cutscenes in a row, whereas this, you knew when to end and it ended. Sometimes brevity is better than overloaded length. So I love for number 9, Super Mario RPG. Super 8 is another Super Mario game. It's Super Mario Kart, the original Super Mario Kart. That's a very fun game. It's like you could play alone or basically with people. I remember that I could basically do the 50cc circuit at 100cc circuits, but 150, never mind. Or the reverse one I thought were way too tough and way too cheap. So I really like that game. I really like playing as a Koopa, Donkey Kong, very fun. Number 7. This is where it's going to get controversial. I put it here now. Zelda Link to the Past. To me, it's still my favorite Zelda game ever. I really like Breath of the Wild, but I have Tears of the Kingdom, and I have a hard time playing it because it's way too vast. Whereas Breath of the Wild was enough vast for me, but this one was too vast. And Link to the Past to me could be a bit vast for the time, but also let you know what you need to do and what were the steps you had to go through to actually advance in the game. So, was fun. I thought it was done great for casual and for diehard Zelda fans. Number 6, Super Metroid. Again, people might have put it number 1. I put it number 6. Super fun game that started a whole genre of Super Metroid, and afterwards you had Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS1. Basically, the two games I felt like really kick jumped that start. The Kickstarter, sorry, that genre. And you can't say enough good thing about Super Metroid. You can finish it very fast, or it can take your time. But one or another, you're entertained the whole way for this. That's for number 6. Number 5, Contra 3, The Alien Wars. Again, another game that felt like SNES, sometimes the games that were like 30 minutes, but they didn't need to be longer. They didn't overstay their welcome. They finished, and you felt like replaying over and over again. There was high replayability there. I mean, easy mode is pretty easy to get you to master control. Normal mode is enough for you to enjoy the challenge, but hard mode I thought was way too tough. And the surprise, me and my brother once basically beat the Red Falcon boss at the end, and we're surprised there was a final form just at hard level, and we had our controller down, so we were killed by the monster, and basically it was game over. Like that was cheap. I hate when games did used to do that. But anyway, Country 3 there. Number four, it's a tie because the entire series is the Donkey Kong Country series. I mean, the first one was good. The second one to me is my favorite. Third one is to me the least good, but still, it's pretty good still. I mean, all of them are classics and they're very, very like they're again, I really like Donkey Kong Returns, Country Returns on the Wii, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I think the whole series will win. It's a series that's not talked enough about. We talked about Zelda, we should talk more about DK. It's a series that I feel like is only getting better, especially now there's gonna be DK, there's DK Bonanza. It's a series that to me, Donkey Kong is an underrated franchise that people don't always assume with Mario, Zelda, but we should basically start putting there. Okay. Number three, again, it's a tie because they're two RPG by the same company. It's Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, or in the States was Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy, so many characters, but all of them well written. Like there were no superfluous character bar, maybe Gao or Mimic, the guy basically this. So most of them had a purpose for being the story. You know, I could differentiate between different characters, and I really like this in the game, in the RPG. Chrono Trigger, it's a game, an RPG, again, could be longer than like, could be 12, 14 hours, or it could be actually 1 hour, depending on the path you take. There was it was one of the first RPGs I recall having a new game plus, and it helps the game. Because having to face lavas at different time of the game changed the outcome of the story. I really, really appreciated that. So that's number three. Number two, my favorite beat 'em up ever, TMNT 4, Turtles in Time. What can I say? I haven't said in the top beat 'em up video. It's great. It's 10 levels. Yeah, it goes by fast. It's 30 minutes, but 30 minutes of action packed. Like basically, you don't feel the length of the game. Like I could have gone for at least another 8 levels there. This is why this, and I would say number two will be TMNT Shredder's Revenge. It's like it's not a beat 'em up that you feel like, it's getting boring, you're getting too raw, it drags on. No, they know when to end it, and when they end, they end. Beat 'em up should not be 7 hours. Sometimes 2, 3 hours is enough, tops. Tops. Afterwards, you risk the you tend to risk of basically prolonging the game just for nothing. So I'm not gonna go further on this. If you want my other thoughts on the game, go see my top beat 'em up video. And number one. Before I basically draw on what's going to be number one, I will say this: Super Mario All-Star, I would put it on the list, except when it's just a game. I feel like it's still a game that's basically just here's a number the those games for the Nintendo just remastered. So especially if it's just for the Nintendo, not for another console, just for Nintendo, it's gonna be in a more honorable mention. As well as Star Wars games, the Super Star Wars, Super Return of the Jedi, Super Empire Strikes Back, they deserve to be on that. But number one is Super Mario World. The game that introduced, that basically opened this SNES age, is the one who I still remember, who I still see as the best game. And it's kind of ironic that the number two games that I have on my SNES game list are the two games I got when my mom and my dad bought me and my brother the SNES. It was Super Mario World and TMNT 4. And to me, those are still the number two games, the top two games. Maybe there's a sentimental value to it, a sentimental feeling attached to it, but I don't care. To me, those are the top two games, top two SNES games of all time. And they remain two of my favorite games of all time. And now that I look at my list, I've noticed some patterns like Konami, Capcom, Square Enix, and Nintendo, all of them basically are have an overwhelming presence on that list. That says basically at that time, Konami rocked, Capcom rocked, and Nintendo still continues to rock. But Konami, what happened? That's the first thing comes to mind. Konami, what happened? You used to have plenty of great hits, every game that you basically put out were great, and now we don't know. Capcom, same thing. Apart from Street Fighter now and some Resident Evils, we don't know. And Nintendo keeps on charting hits, but it's like I'd like to see another Star Fox, for example. And Square Enix is Square Enix. So those are my lists. I'm not gonna prolong it anymore. So I hope you have a great day. See you guys later. Bye.